We are going to be reviewing how to interpret financial aid awards. Some of the topics we'll cover include an overview of how colleges award aid, 4 steps to interpret an aid award, and then we'll review some options if your aid isn't what you expected. First, some general information about aid awards. Your aid award may be delivered to your house or sent electronically. Make sure you're regularly checking your email, your online student portal if you have one, and your mailbox so that you don't miss your award coming through. You should not accept an offer of admission or make an enrollment deposit until you receive your aid award, and colleges should not pressure you to do so. Remember that every aid award is for 1 year only. No aid award is a guarantee of aid for the entire time of your program unless your program is a year or less. Some scholarships may have criteria you need to meet in order to remain eligible for that scholarship next year. You may be awarded student loans, which is money for college that you have to repay plus interest. However, you are not required to accept the maximum amount of loan you are offered, and you may decide that borrowing less than the full amount offered is what makes sense for you. We're going to quickly review some common financial aid terms. First, financial aid. Financial aid is money that you can use to pay for college. It comes in 2 primary forms, gift aid and self-help aid. Gift aid is money that does not have to be repaid. It's things like grants and scholarships. Self-help aid is money that either has to be repaid or has to be earned through work study. Cost of attendance, or COA, is the amount it costs to attend a college for 1 year. COA includes both direct costs you will be billed by the college and indirect costs that you will have to pay in order to attend school for things like textbooks and transportation. Estimated Family Contribution, or EFC, is a number generated by the FAFSA that's supposed to represent what you and your family can contribute to college expenses each year. Your EFC may be 0, but it may also be higher than you expected. Colleges use your EFC to determine your financial need, which we'll get to next. For this reason, some colleges request that students who are not eligible for federal and state aid but who have a social security number for something like DACA, complete the FAFSA anyway. Now that we've reviewed some financial aid terms, we'll put them to use in interpreting aid awards. First, we'll go over how colleges award aid. The first step is for the college to determine your financial need. They do this by taking the COA and subtracting your EFC. Whatever amount is left over is your financial need. So in the example we provide, let's say the COA is $10,000 and the EFC is $2,000. Once we subtract the EFC from the COA, we're left with a financial need of $8,000. The next step is for colleges to award financial aid to meet your financial need. So colleges do not have to meet your full need. In the example that we've provided, the college might only be able to meet $6,000 of the $8,000 need, and that would leave the student with a gap of $2,000 to fill. However, colleges also cannot award aid in an amount that exceeds your financial need. So in this example, the student would only be awarded aid up to $8,000. In extreme circumstances, the financial aid office can do something called a professional judgment. In a professional judgment, a financial aid administrator can decide to raise a student's COA, which in turn makes them eligible for more financial aid. Remember, financial need is not the same as the amount you'll be billed by the college, because almost all students receive some financial aid. Over the next few slides, we'll interpret an actual financial aid award from Merrimack College. This award example is taken from a Vox article on the difficulty of deciphering aid awards. Keep in mind that your award will probably not be in the same format, but it will include a lot of the same information that this example does. It's important to keep in mind that financial aid awards vary a lot from college to college and student to student. You should not base your ideas about whether or not this type of college is affordable to you based off this one example. The first step to interpreting an aid award is to find the cost of attendance and separate the direct costs from the indirect costs. Not every aid award includes the cost of attendance. You may need to look it up or contact the financial aid office. This particular example from Merrimack is tricky because it only includes the direct costs and not the indirect costs that the student would also have to pay. In this example, which we've zoomed in on to make it easier to read, the direct costs total $53,170. This includes both tuition as well as room and board, which is what housing and a meal plan is called. Once you've located the direct costs, the next step is to subtract the gift aid you were awarded from the direct costs. Remember, gift aid is aid that you do not have to repay, like grants and scholarships. This example does a good job of spelling out exactly which aid is grants and scholarships versus loans. You can see that for every particular piece of aid that the student is awarded, it either says scholarship or grant on the end of it. However, this is not always the case. If you are confused about the names of the different types of aid you've been offered and you can't tell if they are gift aid or self-help aid, you should contact the financial aid office to have them help you. This student was awarded $27,715 in gift aid, which is the aid surrounded in green. If we subtract that amount from the direct costs, we're left with an amount of $25,455. The next step is to examine the loans you've been awarded and decide how much you want to borrow. Remember, you do not have to borrow the full amount of loan that you have been offered, and you should only borrow an amount you would be able to repay plus interest. In this example, the student was awarded both a subsidized and an unsubsidized loan. The loans total $5,500 per year. This student may look at that amount and decide they do not want to borrow that much. Here's some basic loan information to guide your decision making if you're not sure how much to borrow. Again, remember, you do not have to borrow the full amount of loan you've been offered. Subsidized loans are better than unsubsidized loans because for subsidized loans, the government pays your interest for you while you are enrolled in college. You should borrow the maximum available in subsidized loans before you borrow unsubsidized loans. Private loans, or loans from a bank rather than from the federal government, have higher interest rates and less generous repayment options. For this reason, they should be a last resort. If you are considering taking out private loans, reach out to your college's financial aid office first to see if there is anything they can do. If you aren't sure how much you are comfortable borrowing, you can look up starting salary information in your chosen career field or a field you are interested in, and compare that amount with your monthly payment for your loans. Remember that your financial aid award is only for 1 year, so you need to calculate your payments based off the amount you would have to borrow for your entire degree program. In the example we provided, Merrimack awards 4-year bachelor's degrees, so the student would multiply the amount they have been offered by 4. Ultimately, this is your decision to make. You will have to weigh the pros of attending the college you're considering with the cons of repaying your loans. Once you've decided how much to borrow, you figure out how much you'll be billed by the college each semester. To do this, subtract the loan amount from the amount left over after the gift aid was subtracted. Then divide that total by the number of terms, 2 for semester and 3 for quarters. Our student decided they only want to borrow $4,000 of the $5,500 they were offered. So once we subtract that $4,000, we're left with an amount of $21,455 that they will be billed for their first year. Divided by 2 semesters, their bill each semester will be $10,727.50. Most colleges allow students to set up a payment plan where they are billed monthly instead of each semester. Assuming this college spreads the payment out over 10 months, this monthly bill would be $2,145.50. But remember, this college did not include indirect expenses. the student would have to pay for things like textbooks, school supplies, and transportation to and from campus in addition to this charge each month. At this point, it's up to the student and their family to decide if this is affordable for them or not. So to recap the steps we took to interpret our aid award. Step 1 is to separate out the direct costs from the indirect costs. Step 2 is to subtract the gift aid from the direct costs. Step 3 is to examine the loans and decide how much to borrow. And step 4 is to pull all the information together to determine how much you'll be billed each term or each month and decide if you can afford it. The example we've used shows an award that is likely unaffordable for this student and their family. So what would this student's options be now? One option would be to reach out to the admissions office to ask if there is more aid available. Sometimes admissions recruiters can advocate for a student to get a higher award or may know of scholarships that are seeking applicants. Your position in asking for additional aid is especially strong if you have a competing aid offer from another college that you're considering. We already talked about a payment plan, and so this is an option that would spread the amount you owe over a series of months instead of 2 or 3 big payments. In this example, the direct costs included room and board. The student could consider a different living situation, like living at home or living with another relative in order to save money. But remember, this means that then their indirect costs would also go up. If you are in a position where you are close to being able to afford this college, this is a good time to apply for some extra scholarships as a way to make your bill smaller. If necessary, you may want to consider retaking the ACT if a slightly higher score will make you eligible for a lot more scholarship dollars. If these options don't produce the result you want, you may need to consider your Plan B. Your Plan B could be to attend another college to which you were admitted that's offering you a better aid package. Keep in mind that if your top choice college is out of reach right now, you may be able to attend as a transfer student. There are people and organizations who can help you through this process. Reach out to your school counselor and ask for their assistance. Work with admissions recruiters at the colleges you've been admitted to. If you have specific questions regarding your aid award and understanding your options, financial aid professionals at the college you're looking at are going to be a great resource. You can also reach out to local nonprofits for help. Good luck.